Hi friends!
Hi guys!
My name is Jasmine.
And my name is Marilyn.
And welcome to our first episode of Wish You Love podcast. This episode today is our intro, just a little bit
of info about us, about the podcast, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, so this episode is meant to just be an intro, just so you can get to know a little bit more about, who Jasmine and Marilyn are, what you can expect from this podcast. And
so should we get into how we met?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, actually, before we do that, we should also mention that they can follow us. Yeah, you guys can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I think that's all of them, but it's Wish You Love Pod. And if you want to share your stories and bring yourself into this little community and have yourself kind of be part of the podcast, essentially, you guys can fill out a Google Doc that is in the link of that YouTube, the TikTok, and Instagram. So at Wish You Love Pod, you guys can send in your stories, or like I said, if you guys need advice or just simply want to maybe put your spin on something that we talked about on the podcast.
Yeah, we're super excited for you guys to join us and just kind of be a part of this community. We really want to make this a loving, safe community. And I hope with this first intro episode, you guys can get that.
Yes. Yeah. All right, so should we get into the story of how we met?
Yeah. So Marilyn and I actually met through a mutual friend. That mutual friend had invited us to a wedding, and
her wedding,
yes. And I remember, we went to her wedding. We met sitting down at the table. At first, we didn't know each other, of course. But as the night went on, and with the food and the drinks and the music, we just started to get a little bit more comfortable. And I would say, we just really vibed off each other and our energy. And, as we continue to get older, I think we become a little bit more protective and who we surround ourselves with and the type of friends we want to make. And so it was really nice to see that within just one night, we kind of read off of that from each other.
Yeah.
And I remember leaving the party, the wedding, and I just went up to Marilyn and was like, girl, we have to be friends. Let's hang out. Let's, see each other again. And we exchanged socials, number, and just kind of kicked it off from there, huh?
And I love how out there she was, because I think it could be scary sometimes trying to make a new friend, especially once you're older. And I just remember I was like, oh yeah, for sure. And she's like, no, seriously, let's hang out. I'm like, okay. And then she left with her boyfriend. And and then ever since then, I remember I left that party that night by myself. And as I was driving home, I called my boyfriend and I was just telling him how much fun I had that night and how I made a friend and how I was very excited, because I was like, I feel like I've made a good friend. I was like, I feel like this person is gonna be a lifelong friend. And it was an exciting feeling that I didn't know why I was so excited. There was no reason, right? We haven't hung out yet. We didn't talk all night long or anything like that. But it's just a feeling. I feel like it's one of those gut feelings, something good is going to happen. And look, now we have a podcast together.
I know. So exciting. But that's just a little story time on how Marilyn and I met, how we became friends. Of course, you'll get to know more about us and our friendship throughout the episodes, but that's your guys' sneak peek for now.
You'll for sure know who we are by the end of a bunch of episodes. You're like, oh yeah, that's Jasmine. That's
Marilyn. Now we know why they're friends.
Now we know why they're friends. Yeah, exactly. And maybe we should talk about as well how we came up with this podcast. Why are we making this podcast? What's the reason? What's its purpose?
Kick us off, Marilyn.
Okay. So Miss Girl over here is a she has her bachelor's in business. So we were having dinner one night, and we kind of just wanted to start a business together. And the word podcast was thrown around, but I mean, nothing was taken really seriously. We were kind of just conversation. And you know, throughout my daily life, I like listening to music a lot, and I was listening to this song called I Wish You Love, and it's a beautiful song, and I realized that our morals really align with that saying, wish you love, because above all else, and no matter, like, if you obviously love somebody, if you care for somebody, but even if you necessarily don't get along with somebody, at the end of the day, our hearts and our intentions are never bad. Like, we don't want to wish death upon people. We don't want to wish bad upon people. Like, just stay in your lane, and I'll stay in mine. I hope all is well with you. We wish you love and all that. So I feel like wherever this podcast takes us, because obviously we have an idea of what we want it to be, but sometimes podcasts kind of turn into something else over time. But in the end of the day, like, Wish You Love does represent like who we are and how we are, you know, in our everyday lives. So that's how the name of it came about. But as well, we really want the takeaway to be for everyone to feel good, maybe self-motivated, to learn something, and to really grow with us as a community.
And I know when we were thinking about, like, you know, what should we do? What do we like? What's something similar that we would both have so much fun in? When Marilyn talked to me about this podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been wanting to do one too. So that came so naturally. And like she said, just the title itself and like the meaning that we hope you guys can take from each episode, that really does define like who we are as individuals, and it becomes even more powerful when we come together. Because we literally are both in that same mentality and that energy of just like we grow up, we lose people sometimes, you know. Some people don't stick with us throughout the next chapters, but above all, we wish you love. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, exactly. And I did kind of like a business pitch to her. I was like, I slid papers. We were at a lunch again. I was like, what do you think about this? And she loved it. I was so happy. I was literally telling some close friends, like, oh my goodness, I hope she likes it. I hope she likes it. She liked it. So I'm glad. I can't wait to like create the actual episodes. Obviously, this is the trailer, but I can't wait to get into the conversations and all that stuff. And we really just want the takeaway that after you finish an episode that you feel good, you know. Maybe you've learned something, or maybe you related, you know. So this is really a community where we can laugh together, cry together, smile together,
learn,
love together, learn,
grow,
all that good stuff.
But I think that pretty much concludes, or we can wrap up our intro. Again, the purpose of this was just for you guys to get to know us a little bit more and get to know more about our podcast. But we're super excited and hopeful for you guys to join us, listen to us weekly, follow us on all our socials, and just overall grow this community together.
And don't forget to follow us at Wish You Love Podcast, and we're going to see you next week. And above all else,
we wish you love.
Bye guys.